Welcome to Field & Stream Store's Kickoff Week.
The Georgia Dome is sold out as we continue the best kickoff weekend in college football history with Kirby Smart's debut as the head coach of Georgia. And we welcome back Dawgs star running back Nick Chubb. Squaring off with Georgia will be quarterback Mitch Trubisky and North Carolina in the Chick-Fil-A Kickoff game. Now. Welcome to the Chick-Fil-A Kickoff game, presented by Hampton by Hilton. All a part of Field & Stream Store's Kickoff Week. The Georgia Dome is sold out. Plenty of Dogs fans have made the drive down to see their Georgia Bulldogs take on the Tar Heels of North Carolina as we continue the best ever opening weekend in college football history. Again, everyone, Bob Wischusen here with Brock Ewart. Allison Williams will join us in just a moment. We knew that the college football playoff was going to create a lot of end-of-season drama. But those of us that do this for a living always hoped that it would drive teams to build those resumes and give us games like we've got here and the rest of this weekend. Could you ask for a better weekend of college football?
No. And this is what we all wanted, but this is what the committee needs. This is exactly what college football should look like. And Bob, based on the resume of the schedule for the rest of the season for both of these clubs, this one's imperative. If there's any dreams or aspirations of winning the national championship and playing in January, they have to win today. That's the significance of this afternoon. And what's a sold-out place that's ready for some football?
Well, also ready for some football is the new head coach of the Georgia Bulldogs, Kirby Smart. We met with him. You sensed some nerves, but he's certainly been through this before.
Yeah, I sense him. I want to go hit somebody as a former safety for Georgia. That's what I sense. There's two things that, to me, have to stand out today. A calm within a storm. This is the first time that he's going to hear the kind of chaos in his headsets between special teams, offense, defense, and you know there's going to be some level of adversity with as good as North Carolina is offensively. The second thing, like Nick Saban, his mentor for 9 years, he has to have an answer. He's got to be a step ahead when that adversity hits. A lot of young people on special teams. It'll be a fascinating watch for the entire game and the head coach in particular.
Well, he had a quarterback controversy to deal with through summer camp. We'll talk about that coming up a short time from now. But Allison Williams down on the field. If you're a brand new head coach, though, Allison, it's nice to have the security blanket back at running back. Nick Chubb returns.
Yeah, that's heck of a security blanket that he has in Nick Chubb, who just over 10 months after tearing multiple ligaments in his knee will make his return for the Bulldogs. From what I saw in practice and from what coaches said, he has looked terrific. Didn't wear anything on that knee when I saw him, but tonight he will wear a protective sleeve. They're not going to necessarily limit his carries, but they will monitor him for fatigue. Make sure he's still being efficient, because they noticed in practice as he got tired, there was a bit of a limp. As for his backup, Sony Michel, who did warm up, he will not play, still having that fractured left forearm not completely healed. Bob?
This game has been sold out for weeks. And let's let you take in the sights and sounds of a packed Georgia Dome as Kirby Smart about to lead his Dogs through the tunnel for the first time.
The 2016 Chick-Fil-A Kickoff game is brought to you by Chick-fil-A. We didn't invent the chicken, just the chicken sandwich.
The Georgia Dome is ready for football, and so are we. Bob Wischusen, Brock Ewart, Allison Williams again here in Atlanta. Now, if you're Larry Fedora, you're used to putting up big offensive numbers in Chapel Hill, but not normally when you say goodbye to a quarterback. Marquise Williams leaves. His #1 target leaves as well, and yet they seem more confident this year in their offense than they ever have. Why?
I think I can say confidently in 9 years of doing this job, I've never heard a coach in a program as confident and as trustworthy in a quarterback that has never started a game, but that's exactly the case with Mitch Trubisky. He has engendered that kind of belief. I think because of his sacrifice to the program as a redshirt junior, he stuck around. When most kids quit and leave a program, he didn't. And secondly, he can really spin the ball. He's a better passer than Marquise. He will open more parts of their playbook because of that arm, and they believe in his talents and his skill set.
Trubisky will have to wait, because it will be Georgia starting with the football. The Dogs won the toss, elected to receive. They've got Reggie Davis back to receive the opening kick. Nick Weiler set to send it deep. The Chick-fil-A kickoff game is underway. And it's going to come out to the 25-yard line. Well, we mentioned that there was a quarterback controversy this summer. And that's what's going to come when you've got the #1 recruit in America on your campus. But that's not who's starting. Brock, you mentioned trust. And that seemed to be the #1 factor in why Kirby Smart picked Grayson Lambert to start this game.
28 games, started 12 last year, went 10-2, and he's got the trust not necessarily of the coaching staff, but of the players around him, and that's most important. He can communicate, he can manage the game. Eventually, you're going to see Jacob Eason. The skill set's too good, but to manage everything early, as much as Jim Chaney wants to do, he puts it on the senior that's been there and done it before.
And a carry for Nick Chubb to start. Off to a pretty good start. The stiff arm, 6 yards. And speaking of Nick Chubb, let's take a look at tonight's Chick-fil-A impact players.
I'd expect 20-plus carries. I don't care about the fatigue in the knee or the limp. He's your best player. This is a tailback-driven offense, and he's got to get the touches. One of the best in America. On the other side, Donnie Miles was a leading tackler a year ago, strong safety. He's going to be active today. And watch M.J. Stewart. He plays corner. He plays nickel. He was the 4th leading tackler last year to go with his 4 interceptions. Tremendous player out on the edge.
Chubb tries to get outside and does. Off to a terrific start, showing no ill effects of what was about as gruesome an injury as there was in all of football, college, pro, or any level last season, when he tore every ligament but the ACL in his left knee after he had gotten off to about as good a start as a player could get off to, rushing for over 100 yards in every one of the first 7 games last year.
You give a tip of the cap to Christian Payne there, the fullback. He set that edge. You let the bowling ball get going, he's going to knock down the pins.
Chubb now picks up the blitz. Lambert, though, has the rest of the pocket collapse. The heels get there, and they've got their first sack. That's a loss of 2. Malik Carney was in on the rush. Mikey Bart might have gotten there first.
When you're into the boundary, Bob, in college football, it's a real short sprint for that corner to bring a corner blitz. After 2 runs, Jim Chaney, there, the offensive coordinator, Jim's trying to set up some play action pass naturally. And kudos to Gene Chizik on the other side. He brings the corner blitz. Grayson doesn't see it. The negative play on first down.
Draw play to Chubb, right up the gut. And it will be 3rd down and about 6. Jeremiah Clark tripped up Nick Chubb. So now the first time it might be on the shoulders of Grayson Lambert, as this seems like a pretty obvious passing down. Brendan Douglas replaces Nick Chubb. He's in the backfield to the left of Lambert. Carolina brings another blitz, untouched off the edge. Down goes Grayson Lambert for a 2nd time. Des Lawrence off the corner. And the Heels give up a Nick Chubb first down, and then they get the stop.
Gene Chizik didn't know till this week which guy he was going to see at quarterback. Really doesn't matter because they're both pocket passers. And when you play a guy that likes to play between the tackles, bring that edge pressure. They did it on the early down, the first down, the corner blitz. And once again, from the short side, there simply is not much real estate to get home. Grayson's got to have a little better feel for that. I'm looking at a guy whose eyes right now are just focused down the field on one read, not a whole field read, where he's got to see that corner pressure.
True freshman from Australia, punting, and a good one. Marshall Long gets it away, and boy, is there a dangerous return man back there in Ryan Switzer with a flag down. We'll have to check the penalty marker thrown back at the line of scrimmage. Don Willard, the referee. This is a Big Ten crew today, as you can see. And let's see if Larry Fedora wants them to kick it again.
Kicking team. That 5-yard penalty will be added to the end of the run. First down.
Well, North Carolina wants to put their offense out there right now as we take a look at tonight's Chick-fil-A impact players when the Heels have the football.
And Georgia wants to slow the game down. Carolina wants to speed it up. They've got a battering ram in Elijah Hood as well. 1,400 yards a season ago. Mac Hollins, their big play threat outside, suspended for the first half because of a targeting in the second half of the bowl game. Worth keeping an eye on the other side. I want to see Lorenzo Carter in his 6'6" frame come to life. The perfect defense to do it. And Dominic Sanders led the SEC in picks a year ago. He's a ball hawk.
Trubisky with a handoff to Elijah Hood. And moves the pile for about 3 yards. Well, you said, and both head coaches said, they were going to have their eye on the pit to start this game, and that would be the initial indicator as to how they thought tonight would go.
And I love the word surge. A zone team, you want to see that push at the line of scrimmage.
Little wide receiver screen. Austin Kroll is bottled up. That brings up a third down for Carolina.
And that's Prohl in the place of Hollins. And they've done this throughout camp. Prohl's a little bit more of a slot guy, but he's earned the right to start outside. They really miss Mac Hollins. He's the voice. He's the captain. He's the big play threat down the field. And here's an awfully big third down for the first-time starter in Trubisky.
Third down and a long 5, close to 6. 4-man rush for the Dogs. The screen set up for Switzer. He's not going to get there. He picked up about 4. Maurice Smith, who came over after a off-season drama as a transfer from Alabama. He's spending his grad year here with his old coaches. And he was there to make the stop. 3 downs and out for North Carolina.
And already the chess piece is moving. Larry Fedora's got a new offensive coordinator this year. Kirby loves it. Carolina's expecting some pressure there from Kirby Smart on third down. No, he loves to bring that from his days at Bama. They run the little jailbreak screen, not enough yardage for the third down conversion. You run that screen expecting a blitz. It's a boom or bust play. And a bust there for the Tar Heels.
Tom Sheldon is also a true freshman punter. And this one an end-over-end kick. Fair catch is made at about the 21-yard line by an all-SEC return man, Isaiah McKenzie. Back to the offense for Georgia when we return. Well, these football games provide us a great opportunity to see good teams, but also for some good to be done. And David Salyers, Chick-fil-A Vice President Brand Activation Marketing, presented both teams with a $50,000 check for each school's respective scholarship fund before today's game. So great football on the field, a lot of good work being done off the field as well. And great work done so far corner blitz-wise from North Carolina as Grayson Lambert is out there for the second time. Georgia starting at their own 21-yard line. Delayed handoff to Nick Chubb right up the gut. He picks up 4.
And that's what both of these coordinators are looking for. You don't need 7, 10, 12. That's a bonus on first down. But the number of times you hear, and it's no cliche, stay ahead of the chain, stay on schedule. Right, you get 3 or 4 yards, you burden Gene Chizik on the defensive side. You take a little of the pressure off, especially if you avoid a negative play on second, to have everything on that play sheet for Jim Chaney to call on third down. Worth watching the success on first down for both these teams.
Chubb being chased and being dropped by Andre Smith. That's a loss of nearly 5.
At the hardest hitter on the Tar Heel defense, that's a kid that played as a true freshman last year. And this time, this is all about beating the block here of the right guard. Isaiah Wynn played right tackle last year, and he's just a little late. And when you're undersized, and most of these linebackers for North Carolina are going to give up some size, some weight, some strength to Nick Chubb, you've got to be the aggressor and dictate.
Well, the biggest question we had coming into this game, arguably, was the run defense for North Carolina. Last year, they were 121st in America, and the last time their defense was on the field, they gave up 645 on the ground to Baylor. Lambert bullets one over the middle. Isaiah McKenzie picks up the first down on 3rd and long. A gain of 26.
Some disadvantages to being a statue in the pocket. So you can get different blitzes that'll hit you. This time, just a little stunt up front from Carolina. 4-man rush doesn't get home. And the 6'5" Lambert scans the field, throws the in cut on time, gives McKenzie, the human joystick, an opportunity to move the sticks.
Nick Chubb for 2.5 yards. Let's go down to Allison.
When Nick Chubb was on the sideline with that offensive line, you could see him just trying to get them fired up, for them to match the emotion he's playing with. He was pounding on their shoulder pads, high-fiving them. You can tell how much it means to him to be back out there on the field. The message to the offensive line, though, from Jim Chaney was to settle down. He said, you're seeing new stuff. Don't overreact.
Play action for Lambert. Pops one underneath, and that one about 1.5 yards shy of the first down to Michael Chigbu. Well, so far, that offensive line has had some good moments and some shaky moments. Obviously, picking up the blitz is always a challenge when you're out there for the first time against a defense that might be changing things up from last year.
To be expected. You return 3 starters, but a couple of them are new spots. I think your most productive lineman moves out to right tackle in Pike. Transfer comes in, 5th-year graduate senior Catalina to play left tackle. Lots of different moving parts. And promise you this, they don't have preseason to get the butterflies out.
There is Tyler Catalina. 3rd down and 1. Chubb very close to the first down. He will be marked right on our first down line. It looks as if it's going to be good enough. And it is, without measurement, a Georgia first down.
Donnie Miles was going to be one of my impact players. Watch him here. You've got 2 guys in the same gap. He's got to be responsible here. He is that unblocked defender. When you get in those short yardage situations, you can't have 2 guys in the same gap responsibility.
Another delayed handoff to Nick Chubb. Into the secondary. Carrying tacklers to the 22. And a late flag thrown as well.
Personal foul, face mask, defense number 12. Penalized half the distance to the goal line. Automatic. First down.
That's a middle linebacker. Andre Smith had the nice stick earlier. That time he's caught watching. He's a half step behind, and you just can't do that with Nick Chubb. The hand on the headgear, and there's the face mask late as well.
That's Tamon Fox, true freshman, playing defensive end as Andre Smith went for a piggyback ride. So Chubb gets a rest. Brendan Douglas is the lone setback, now in the eye on first down in the red zone. He gets the handoff. He gets to the 5. Keeps driving the pile. A helmet off as well through the back of the end zone. That's Christian Payne, the fullback, who lost his helmet, so he'll have to leave for a play as they will mark forward progress. Brendan Douglas down at the 6-yard line, a gain of 5.
So difficult to have patience. We always think of that with a quarterback and his decision making, but it's also offensive linemen. When they pull it's running backs to trust that those big fellas in front of them are going to get to that spot. There's a level of cohesion and timing is involved with those guys in this kind of run system as well. It's coming to life on this drive.
Another handoff. To the 2-yard line goes Brendan Douglas. Georgia can get a first down inside the 1, so that brings up Brock here a big 3rd down. And you can hear the Dogs fans reacting. 3rd down and short, in tight. Nick Chubb's back in the huddle.
Well, if you've got guts, and Jim Chaney's been around a long time, you play pass here. And you tell yourself, I got 2 downs to get a yard. You want to get your quarterback really feeling good about himself. You know North Carolina is going to commit to stopping 27. Could be a wonderful opportunity for a play-action pass.
2 true freshman tight ends on either side of the line. Instead, it's Chubb. He does it himself. That's a Georgia touchdown. Welcome back, Nick Chubb. The 22nd career rushing touchdown for Nick Chubb. Grayson Lambert with a big 3rd down throw on that drive as well.
The 2016 Chick-Fil-A Kickoff game is presented by Hampton by Hilton. Book at Hampton.com for a guaranteed discount. And in part by Chevrolet, the most awarded car company 2 years in a row.
Bob Wischusen, Brock Ewert, Allison Williams back at the Georgia Dome. The Chick-fil-A kickoff game, the early lead to Georgia. And back to the touchdown, Nick Chubb, well coordinated down at the 2-yard line.
It sure is. Chubb gets a touchdown, but it's Brandon Capuano in the tug of war here. And look at the freshman Werner come over and set the block, set the edge. Well done. That is a true freshman coming back across the formation and helping his buddy out. And Chubb, you get that guy started at 230 pounds downhill, you're not stopping him at the goal line.
TJ Logan from the 5. Out to the 23. That's where North Carolina will have the football when we return in just a moment. It's Trubisky back to work for the Heels. Larry Fedora's offense last season exploded second half of the year and ended up leading FBS in yards per play. Going up against a Dawgs defense that was #1 in FBS in opponent 3-and-outs. Well, it was a 3-and-out for North Carolina the first time they had the football. Bob Wischusen, Brock Ewert, Allison Williams here at the Georgia Dome. So Brock, now it's back to Mitch Trubisky to at least try to get field position flipped and a little momentum going offensively. Quick hitch again. Nothing there. Ryan Switzer blown up by Malcolm Parrish.
Well, you got to get a first down so you can get your tempo going. This is really a wonderful tale of 2 very different styles. Right, this is your old school boxing match with one that just wants to wear you down, the other that wants to play up tempo and knock you out early. Carolina's so good last year at those chunk plays, but in order to get that tempo, you got to get a first down.
Trubisky, long throw across the field. He's got one-on-one out on the edge. Chris Francis, nice open field tackle by Maurice Smith. A gain of maybe 1.5 yards. So now it's 3rd down and 8.
I'll tell you what else you got to do. You got to get your best player the ball. And that's Elijah Hood. You see the other side with Georgia and Jim Chaney in their script, making sure that Chubb touches it again and again and again. You do not want to go 2 series without really feeling the impact of Hood.
Well, that'll help. As Roquan Smith, that's the definition of offsides. I think every official on the field threw a flag.
Offside. Defense number 3 unabated to the backfield. 5-yard penalty remains, 3rd down.
Well, we asked Kirby yesterday how much of the terminology defensively stays the same. Jeremy Pruitt here earlier, about 80% of the language. So these kids hit the ground running, but 3rd down is vastly different. More pressure, more opportunity to blitz, and that time Roquan trying to get a head start.
Well, North Carolina had not gained 5 yards from scrimmage on any play so far, so that's their biggest gain. The 5-yard penalty brings up 3rd down and a much more manageable 3. 5-man rush. Trubisky given time and delivers a strike for a 1st down. That's his tight end Carl Tucker, and a gain of 10.
And that's a tremendous job of Carl using his size and staying flat down the line. If you drift, that's an incompletion, knockdown, maybe even a pick. He used his body to shield the defender.
Bentley Spain backed up, but only after Davin Bellamy jumped. Let's see what the officials come away with.
Offside. Defense number 17 moving into the neutral zone, causing the offensive player to react. 5-yard penalty remains. 1st down.
And Kirby's going to come in and out of a 3- and 4-man front. He expected to be in a lot of nickel. That means a lot of Bellamy, a lot of Lorenzo Carter playing those edge pass rush situations. As you see here, a little bit of a 3-4 look, and that communication for Carolina, communicating 3 down, 4 down, critical to their protections.
Kirby Smart watching his defense. 1st and 5. Trubisky. Play action fake. Looking for the home run. Broken up. Ryan Switzer had a step, but Maurice Smith, who would have started as the nickel, at least was the spring starting nickel for Alabama before transferring for his graduate year to Georgia. He closed the distance and was there.
He looks like a guy that's played in 41 games, never panicked. Should have actually had that interception. Plays the ball perfectly there. 41 games played in this system, very comfortable. His patience there proved it.
That was the first incompletion for Trubisky. 2nd down and 5 becomes 3rd down and 4. Elijah Hood has stood up after a gain of 1.5 yards. 3rd down and 3.5. Switzer started early. That's a false start on Ryan Switzer.
False start. Offense number 3. 5-yard penalty remaining. 3rd down.
It's a veteran crew offensively. New quarterback, but 8 starters returned, 4 up front. Ryan, the leading receiver a year ago. You think you knew where the ball was going to go on that last play? Pretty good indicator. Usually it's a pulling guard. Tells you it's a run play. Receiver jumps. His number was going to be called.
Roquan Smith bluffed up towards the line as if he was going to blitz. Did he tip Georgia's hand?
Good matchup here.
3rd down and 8. Trubisky under some pressure extends the play. Lost the football. Just threw it straight down at the deck. They're going to rule that a fumble. Aaron Davis the other way for a Georgia touchdown. Could this be ruled an incomplete pass?
Review.
Well, they're certainly going to review it. His arm's coming forward, and it looked as if he was trying to pump fake a pass, and the ball slipped out. But with his arm coming forward, would you rule that an incomplete pass?
Well, we met the replay guys about a half hour ago. They came into the booth. And remember, in college football, those replay guys, they make the decision along with the referee. This does not get sent out to New York like it does in NFL. In the NFL, they're just facilitators at the next level. Not so here. He and the referee are going to talk through this and walk through this, and I think probably spend a little time, Bob, trying to figure that out. I usually judge that by the reaction of the quarterback. Does he go right for that ball? Does he know that ball slipped out of his hand? Now the action, you're right, that action is going down, but he's also looks like he's trying to grip it and hold on to it. And the call on the field, so critical in these moments.
Obviously, he's trying to not throw the football there, but with his arm coming forward in what is an obvious passing motion before the ball comes out, could certainly be ruled an incomplete pass, but it was ruled a fumble on the field. And based on the length of this review so far, this was not an immediate confirmation of the call on the field.
And that's Aaron Davis.
I would think they might be leaning towards incomplete pass.
And of course it's Aaron Davis, the former walk-on, the heads-up football player that's always in the right spot. Going to play a little more as Quincy Moshe is a little beat up with an ankle injury he's been battling through.
A Big Ten officiating crew.
The action is, and the arm is going down. Remember
After
that.
further review, the quarterback had possession when his arm was coming forward. Therefore, it is an incomplete pass. It will be 4th down and 8. Please reset the game clock to 1 minute and 44 seconds.
And I like that level of detail and explanation. It's what you want. He had possession of the ball. The arm is moving forward and going down. And even though it looks like it slips out of his hands, because he had possession and that action is going down, it is a critical call for Larry Fedora. Do not want to go down 14-0 in this building if you're North Carolina.
And even though it's a big sigh of relief on the sideline for North Carolina, that was still at least for North Carolina a couple of first downs. Now you're not punting from back inside your 10-yard line. A chance to change field position, and it looks like they will at least do that. Making the first man miss is Isaiah McKenzie, but he gets buried at the 15-yard line after a 42-yard punt by Tom Sheldon. So a nervous moment for Trubisky. Ruled a fumble and a touchdown on the field, but replay bails out Carolina. The first week of college football continues tomorrow, and we'll have the game of the day on ABC. 10th ranked Notre Dame taking on Texas at 7:30 Eastern. That can also be streaming live on the ESPN app, and watch ESPN. Bob Wischusen, Brock Ewert, Allison Williams here in the Georgia Dome. And talk about blue blood programs. Those are two blue blood programs up against one another tomorrow night.
And talk about a fascinating quarterback conversation in that one, too, for Notre Dame. The unknown, the possible true freshman for Texas, and what that looks like.
Georgia tightens up the formation, trying to pave the way again for Chubb. Nick Chubb. 4 yards to the 19-yard line. Dominique Green and Malik Carney sandwiched him. It'll be 2nd down and 6.
And a nice block there by Michael Chickboo, the wide receiver. If you're going to have this kind of system and you're going to be committed to what Jim Chaney, Sam Pittman, offensive line coach, want to do, everybody's got to block. You saw it earlier with the freshman tight end, the wide receivers, the fullback. Everybody's got to play a role in a tailback-centric run-first system.
Chubb again. Now again, last season, North Carolina's defense was the best among any Power 5 defense in terms of allowing fewer points than they did the year before. They averaged 14.5 points better defensively last year than they did in 2014. Having said that, though, they also allowed, Gene Chiswick's team did, 247.8 yards rushing per game and gave up 645 to Baylor in the Russell Athletic Bowl. 3rd down and 4 here. Do you run at that defense if you're Georgia, or do you have some respect for that defensive front? How they played so well?
They're confused.
Flags down. Lambert off his back foot to the sideline, incomplete.
Yeah, this is going to be an illegal substitution. They're confused, and that's the easiest play in the book. Take the first down via penalty, and some critical penalties here from a more veteran North Carolina team, and in that case, secondary.
And that penalty will result in a first down.
It's a pretty good picture of what Mike Bellotti loved to say and what I learned from him and working with him. More games are lost than won the first week. Just errors, self-inflicted errors, penalties, substitutions, special teams gaffes, pre-snap penalties. Larry Fedora liked his camp an awful lot. He really loves the veterans on this team and the character they have. But these are the kind of self-inflicted mistakes pre-snap, and a conversation here with the referees now, making sure they're all on the right page, same page.
Illegal substitution on the defense. Number 5 left the field of play to the sideline, then came back in. By rule, that's an illegal substitution. It's a 5-yard penalty and results in a first down.
Brutal 5-yard penalty to take on 3rd down and 4. And it's a true freshman, Patrice Rene, that left the field and came back.
And you're going to see him right at the bottom of your screen try to run on. I don't even think you could have get away with that in high school a year ago for the true freshman.
The previous plays for further review.
And now they're going to take a look and see if it did indeed meet the definition of illegal substitution.
And by rule, they have just got to make sure that he had left the field and then comes back into the field of play. That's the discussion.
And apparently there was not an angle that confirms whether or not he left the field of play and then came back. Maybe Larry Fedora is saying he stopped short of getting to the actual sideline.
Doesn't matter.
Crossing the boundary.
You can't be close. You can't give that official the opportunity to make that call. Right? That official, that side judge, is looking down the line. He's looking what he's looking at, and he's not going to just stare exactly at whether or not. If you give him the opportunity to throw the flag, you're going to get penalized.
And that's a free first down for Georgia, which undoes some of the good work that your offense did, starting deep in your own end, moving it out at least towards midfield, changing field position. And your defense is on the verge of forcing a 3-and-out. Who knows what kind of field position your offense might then get. And instead of penalty on 3rd down and 4, a fresh set of downs for the opposing offense. That's a tough pill to swallow if you're Carolina. Grayson Lambert under pressure. Tries to squeeze his way back to the line of scrimmage, but Nazir Jones tripped him up. That's a sack, and that will take us to the end of the first quarter. A slugfest here between Georgia and North Carolina. 1 quarter in the books at the Georgia Dome. Welcome back to the Chick-Fil-A Kickoff game, presented by Hampton by Hilton. And there's a happy Dawgs fan down on the sideline. Steelers legend Hines Ward, who of course did work in Athens from 1994 to 1997. And he was firing up the crowd before this game this afternoon.
He did as a quarterback. And I think that helped him at the next level, having a full field understanding. Tremendous college player. What's a little unique about this coaching change too that Hines and the rest of the Bulldogs have looked at? It's not a change necessarily in philosophy. Maybe a little bit of mentality with a little toughness, trying to make guys comfortable by being uncomfortable. The pro style, a lot of the same defensive principles. Just want to do it with more aggression.
Start of the second quarter. Georgia about to run their 19th offensive play. North Carolina with only 9 plays from scrimmage offensively in the first quarter. Grayson Lambert right on time to the true freshman Isaac Nauta, and the #1 tight end recruit in America, according to ESPN.com, just dropped the football.
And you're seeing both Nauta. You saw Warner earlier, the other true freshman tight end. They're very, very pleased with what these 2 young men have done in camp. That's freshmen. That's a freshman that's looking up at the safeties and linebackers instead of securing the reception first. As you see Shane Beamer, the tight end coach, give a little encouragement on the sidelines.
This is a big play early for North Carolina's defense.
Sure
Third
is.
down and 12 with a chance to still control field position if they can get a stop here. Lambert looking at a blitz. It gets picked up. That ball deflected and falls in no man's land. So it will be a punt for the Dogs. We'll see where North Carolina ends up with the football as Isaiah Jones got the deflection at the line.
I love the blitz. You know, they felt like North Carolina was going to be a simple team, but they blitz. And I think the great thing that Gene Chizik and John Papuchis do as his co-D coordinator is they match up. And there's the big fella up front. You don't get home, get your hands up, Nazir Jones. But you blitz, Bob, and you don't leave huge gaps because you match up behind it. That matchup zone coverage. So good with Papuchis in Nebraska for years. Gene has brought it in and employed the same scheme with a wonderful blitz package tonight.
Play clock at 1, and they get the snap off. Returnable for Switzer. Finds a lane. Good field position for North Carolina. When we return, just shy of midfield, a 13-yard return after a 41-yard kick. So we're actually going to keep it right here as the Carolina defense does their job. And now, can the offense, which only ran 9 offensive plays in the first quarter, take advantage? You got to figure percentage-wise, when you start at midfield, 80 to 90% of the time, that drive needs to result in points.
They have to score 30-plus today to win. That's the mindset I have if I'm a Tar Heel player coming into this game. We scored 30 again. We averaged 40 last year. We've averaged over 425 yards for the 5 years with Larry Fedora every single game. Yeah, this is a time to take advantage of very good field position.
Trubisky well protected here. Looking for the deep ball to Bug Howard. Just overthrows his 6'5" senior target.
And I like the shot, and that's going to be Matt Collins in the third quarter. Bug is their one-on-one guy, their 50-50 guy, big frame guy, but it's Matt Collins who is suspended again. I think worth noting, suspended for this first half because of a targeting call in a bowl game, which I think is utterly ridiculous. But that will be him in the second half. They're missing that big play threat down the field.
Here's TJ Logan. Breaks a tackle in the backfield. Gets to the edge. TJ Logan. Another gear all the way down inside the 20. He turns a loss into a big gain. And Carolina's in the red zone. A gain of 35. Another handoff and a cutback to TJ Logan. At the pylon, he's brought down. First and goal, North Carolina at the 3.
And that's a change of pace. And TJ's been a highly productive player. And you're not just going to get Elijah Hood. You're going to get a senior that's been there and done it before and shows you the quickness to get outside.
They put him at the 1-yard line. Trubisky wants to go quickly. They will. To the ground game again. Submarining is Logan. And this time Georgia holds the fort at the 1. Aaron Davis brought him down along with Daquan Hawkins-Muckle. Second down and goal at the 1.
And this is where Marquise was really good a season ago. Second leading rusher for North Carolina was their battering ram of a quarterback. You're going to get a different picture here with Mitch Trubisky. He's not that guy. He's capable of running, but he's not the threat in the run game. Got to get it from different places than he did a year ago.
Elijah Hood back in the game. He's only had 2 touches so far, and Larry Fedora wants a timeout. He's calling that one from the sideline. Ran down to make sure the officials saw him. We'll step aside for just a moment. Huge moment for North Carolina here in the first half. Georgia with the 7-0 lead. But the Tar Heels are knocking on the door to try and get the equalizer as they've got it second down and goal just inside the 2. And this after the timeout called by Larry Fedora. So, Brock, what do you dial up here now that you've had an opportunity to talk it over?
I've got 4 returning starters up front and 112 combined starts. Don't get cute. Don't go backwards. Give Elijah Hood, your run game, the opportunity to do what Georgia did on the other side. Run right at these Bulldogs.
And they're going to run up and try and knock it in there with pace. Play action. Trubisky. He'll walk into the end zone. That's a Tar Heel touchdown. They got a little cute, and it worked.
They did, and I said to you earlier, the QB run game is going to look different this year. It's not QB counter, QB power, and everything Marquise brought to the table last year, but Trubisky's actually faster. And he sells this beautifully. Look at the ball in the gut. It's the attention to detail right there. That's what sells the play. Why in run drills do you work on your fundamentals? Why do you put the ball in your gut? Because you hide it from the defense, and you give yourself an opportunity to outflank them when they lose contain and they lose sight of the ball. And the true freshman, David Marshall, excuse me, Bob, the culprit. True freshman on the field in their very first action. Losing sight, not a surprise.
Well, that was the first jersey that Kirby Smart grabbed when he came over to the sideline. As a 5-play, 52-yard touchdown drive ties the game at 7.
I'm Matt Schick. You're watching ESPNU's coverage of college football. Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
So the #1 ranked quarterback in America takes over. And it's nice to have 27 stand at about 6 yards behind you if you're a true freshman in this atmosphere. And he'll hand it to him on first down. So Nick Chubb picks up 2. Now to play devil's advocate. What does this say to Grayson Lambert? You have not turned the football over. You have not made big boneheaded mistakes. It's a 7-7 tie. And you have not done enough in 1 quarter of play to justify winning the quarterback job. We're making the switch this quickly.
But you know what he brings to the table. 12 touchdown passes, 2 interceptions, 1,900 yards. You know what you got there. With Jacob, there's a whole lot more. Yeah, there's a ton of risk. There's going to be lots to learn. There's nothing in the first 15 minutes here that I have seen the veteran do that the true freshman can't handle.
Eason, that's an easy completion to Terry Godwin for his first ever collegiate completion, and it's easily good for a first down as they do a terrific job, do the Dogs, of blocking for Godwin out on the edge. He picks up 23 to midfield.
Well, and here's what else it does, Bob. It excites a huddle. Not just the 50,000 Bulldog fans in this building. It gives the rest of those guys in the huddle a chance to say, yeah, here comes the All-American. Here comes a kid that can throw it 75 yards. Here comes a kid that can take us some places offensively we weren't a year ago.
Well, this is a young man that won just about every award that was out there to win as a senior in high school. The Gatorade National Player of the Year, USA Today Offensive Player of the Year, the Maxwell High School Player of the Year. And he comes all the way from Lake Stevens, Washington to Athens, Georgia to become the quarterback for the Dogs. And now, with the true freshman at quarterback, Kirby Smart wants to call a timeout from the sideline.
Well, the true freshman didn't realize where that play clock was, and the coaching staff did.
Timeout.
So Jacob Eason at quarterback. Maybe for the rest of the game. Who knows? 7-7 tie.
The 2016 Chick-Fil-A Kickoff game is brought to you by Shop Field & Stream, where traditions begin, and Coca-Cola. Taste the feeling.
Tropical storm Herrien just stayed up the coast and made today a beautiful day here in Atlanta. We're in the Georgia Dome, but outside couldn't have been a nicer day for tailgating. And the fans enjoyed it, taking their selfies and enjoying this 7-7 tie early in the second quarter.
Great area of the field to take a shot. 2 back, heavy protection, chance to sling it down the field. 1st and 10
from midfield. Again, the freshman star Jacob Eason with a toss to Nick Chubb. Blockers out in front. Chubb close to another Georgia first down. Cole Holcomb, the former walk-on that starts at will linebacker, tripped him up, but not before Nick Chubb had a head of steam and picks up 10.
Yeah, I think the only question remaining in talking to the staff there at Georgia with Nick Chubb is top-end speed. And I think that's the last thing. If you talk to people with significant knee injuries and coming back from it, their strength comes back. He's squatting well over 500 pounds. In fact, they stop him at 500 pounds. The power, everything they measure with their GPS systems, it's all there. But the top-end game speed when he can break that safety tackle, that will be the last question mark I think anybody in Athens wants answered.
Eason play action. Looking deep to the sideline and overthrows Jason Stanley. Let's check in with Allison.
We'll see what kind of spark Jacob Eason can give this team, because the guys I talked to towed the company line and really downplayed the difference between each quarterback in the huddle. In fact, Brandon Colbano, who's the center, said there'll be times they're rolling in practice and he won't even realize they've switched out quarterbacks. He did say, though, he spent some extra time in this summer working with Eason, or as he calls him, the young kid, on the quarterback exchange, and of course took a few snaps here on the sideline before they headed out onto the field.
I'm just wondering if Grayson Lambert had any idea how short his leash was if he indeed doesn't come back in this football game. 2nd down and 10. There's a handoff to Nick Chubb. Runs a man over. Another 1st down for Nick Chubb. A gain of 14 more. Mikey Bart got pounded by Chubb at the line.
I don't care that you're the only senior on the defensive line, Mikey Barton. You're 260-some pounds. And you see the encouragement there still. Grayson Lambert's a great teammate. He's going to be very encouraging. But Mikey Bart, don't hit him high. Don't think a shoulder and a high hit is going to knock him over. You better bring everything you've got and wrap and finish.
Brendan Douglas replaces Chubb. He gets the handoff right up the middle again. The C's part. He lost the football. A scramble forward at about the 12-yard line. Who's got it? M.J. Stewart knocked it out for North Carolina. They think they've got the recovery on the Brendan Douglas fumble. That ball may have changed possession 2 or 3 times at the bottom of that pile. They still haven't come away with a signal. And there it is. North Carolina gets the takeaway. And again, it was M.J. Stewart that caused it.
Have your eyes up. Have your eyes up in awareness of what's going on so you can put your helmet right on the football. M.J. Stewart, our impact player, led this team in interceptions last year, 4th in tackles. And that time, a heads-up play forcing a critical turnover.
And it looks like the true freshman, Tamon Fox, that was called for a face masking penalty earlier in the game on the Georgia touchdown drive, came up with the recovery. So now the Heels, deep in their own end, have it back. Trubisky, play action. Looking for a deep ball. Drops it into Prohl, but he can't hold on. Austin Prohl, Ricky's son, had it in his hands. He had Jawan Briscoe beat. You can't throw it much better if you're Mitch Trubisky.
Well, it was a shorter distance in Philadelphia, right in a playoff game where Prohl has an enormous catch, very similar, out over his shoulder. He does everything right. That's not an easy catch. He's looking for it over one shoulder, has the body control to spin around, just can't finish it.
Nice move right at the line. A little jump cut from T.J. Logan. Turned a gain of nothing into about 5, and it brings up a big 3rd down for North Carolina. And now Elijah Hood back in at tailback. He has been very quiet so far.
Looks like press man coverage. Who's going to win for Carolina?
Four-man rush. Trubisky steps up in the pocket and goes down. David Marshall, the same true freshman that bit on the fake on the touchdown at the other end of the field, comes up with the stop on Trubisky, and the Georgia defense does its job after the fumble.
Well, this is what Mitch is saying now, whether it's 2 high safeties in man coverage or that time what you call a robber technique with the safety coming down and robbing the middle of the field. It's got to be man coverage. And if you see man coverage, you know what Mitch tried to do? I got man coverage. No one accounts for me. I'm going to scramble. But a much better play there by the freshman Marshall to bring him down. And a big 3-and-out by a Georgia defense to minimize their turnover.
Both of these teams have very dangerous return men. Ryan Switzer for North Carolina, and Isaiah McKenzie, who calls for a fair catch here for Georgia. That's a pretty good punt. 41-yard punt by the true freshman Tom Sheldon. No opportunity for return, and it certainly looks like Jacob Eason's coming back in. Time now for our Aflac trivia question. Well, it turns out this isn't the only FBS football game played in this building this weekend. Which FBS team plays their home games here at the Georgia Dome? We'll have that answer coming up. Bob Wischusen, Brock Ewert, Allison Williams. It's the Chick-fil-A kickoff game, and it's been a good one so far. And we're looking at a future good one right there in Jacob Eason. Taking over at quarterback, starting the second quarter for Georgia. And now the Dogs with good field position. A little speed end around. And on the flip, it's Isaiah McKenzie. And that looks to be good for a first down. Quickly, let's go back to Adnan. That's a big day for Texas A&M, and that's a little bit of face saving, at least so far, for the SEC, which has struggled on this opening weekend. And Georgia right now in a tussle that we anticipated with North Carolina. Jumping to the outside, Nick Chubb. Close to another Georgia first down. That's a gain of 8.5. Run out by Dominique Green.
And Bob, that's a nice run, but the story, even more so to me than the two quarterbacks, is who is going to win. You're going to see a route here. This was earlier on the last possession from Georgia, and the real concern Jim Chaney had was getting in one-on-one situations and having my guys win. Carolina's corners are better. Carolina's corners are better right now than Jim Chaney's wide receivers. And Jacob Eason's game is to launch it, but he's got to have receivers that can win in one-on-one situations.
Chubb finds room. He's got another first down. Down to the 23-yard line. If wide receivers aren't winning, then why hang it on the quarterback?
That's right.
Why was there a quarterback change? And what did Grayson Lambert do to justify the change from the first quarter to the second quarter?
And I love you, Bob. You weren't buying anything I was selling earlier. That's what I love about the Northeast guys. He didn't do anything. He got sacked 3 times. He didn't get to checkdowns. He didn't get them into advantage plays. He really brought nothing to the table that his experience should have brought to the table in 15 minutes of work. So if he doesn't bring anything to the table, yeah, let this kid run it, and then ultimately you hope to hit a play pass and be a difference maker.
And so far, all Jacob Eason has done is hand the ball off to Nick Chubb. That's worked out pretty well, too.
And here's the 3 sacks. Here's a corner blitz, and watch the eyes. These coaches want to watch body language and eyes. And you tell me, do you see a quarterback that's having an awareness of the full field? A 50-year senior that's played 28 games, that's got his eyes down to the checkdowns and seeing everything? I don't. I see a guy that actually, if you didn't know, would look like a freshman making a start of where his eyes are. And also the impact, Bob, I think it has on his huddle and his teammates.
Now it's a true freshman, Brian Herrien, in as the eye back on second down just inside the red zone. And a toss to the true freshman. He's got another gear. Look at Herrien go to the pylon. Is he in? It is a Georgia touchdown. Welcome to Division I football, Brian Herrien.
Touchdown.
I would say Brian Herrien's career is off to a pretty good start.
I would too, and you're probably right. Grayson could make that pitch. I think we could find a middle ground, but the Bulldogs don't care. They got 7.
Yeah, you're still wrong. How about this? So Grayson Lambert, with Jacob Eason getting a taste of the game, is back in the huddle. And was that now just Kirby Smart and Jim Chaney's way of giving Jacob Eason a little bit of playing time and just some experience? Now does Grayson Lambert stay in the rest of the game? It's going to be interesting to watch how this game plays out. Straight up the middle, as has been the case so far in this first half. Nick Chubb, when it's just physical football, wins that battle and picks up 5.
And there is no worry of a pitch count. If you thought Nick Chubb coming off an injury and all of a sudden, well, like a pitcher making a rehab start, he's on a pitch count. Nope. I mean, he's on base for over 40 carries in this game. And I'm not seeing anything. Well over 100 yards already. I don't see anything. I don't see any limp. I see a guy that is stronger than he was a season ago.
Here he is again. The thing I love that Kirby Smart said about Nick Chubb, he is not a first quarter runner. His runs have a cumulative effect. He's the guy that lulls you to sleep with 4s and 5s, basically 4 yards and 5 yards you to death, and then all of a sudden you've been pounded by him through the first 2.5, 3 quarters, and in the 4th quarter he rips one off, runs someone over, and he's gone. Third down and 1. Can North Carolina get a stop? They are selling out, it looks like, to stop the run. And they hand it to Nick Chubb. The heels stack the middle. And this time they hold the point of attack. Jeremiah Clark got the push. It will be 4th down.
That was a fantastic job by the 2 big bodies inside. Low man wins. So does the guy that gets his hands on the opponent first and reasserts the line of scrimmage. It's a pretty clear picture when Nick Chubb is able to get that momentum going. You can't slow him down, but if you can just stall it out at that line of scrimmage and you can stop that initial surge, you've got a chance to get off the field.
That's a terrific job done by the Tar Heel defense. And there is a very dangerous return man back in Ryan Switzer.
And a freshman punter.
Switzer, an immediate fair catch. Backed up to the 29 and hit. He absolutely called for a fair catch. So that is a mistake and a bad one by Malcolm Parrish. That's going to cost Georgia major field position.
And I have no idea why they're booing in the stadium. On the other end, if they're booing because of the contact previously, that was a blocked into.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, kicking team number 24, 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
It was 14, Malcolm Parrish, that committed the penalty, and obviously he didn't see the fair catch signal.
I'm Matt Schick. You're watching ESPNU's coverage of college football. Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
Welcome back to the Georgia Dome. Bob Wischusen alongside Brock Ewert. Allison Williams down on the field. And this is a cauldron right now. There is a lot of crowd noise at the Chick-Fil-A kickoff game as North Carolina in business just outside the 5.
And this is Brold helping his buddy out. 2 veterans have played a lot of ball. Even scout team reps together. Just come back to my quarterback. And you see why this staff loves Trubisky. He's got a cannon for an arm. And Coach Fedora upset that Prohl did not find a way to get out of bounds, and he's going to let him know about it. It's a little bit of a gray area. He's trying to make a play. He's trying to score, but his coach trying to salvage the timeout.
They still have 1 timeout, and you can see him say, "My bad." But I think he did say to Larry Fedora, "I was trying to score." So only 1 timeout left for Carolina. 30 seconds on the clock, 1st and goal. Trubisky has that one deflected and almost intercepted. Davin Bellamy on the carom. Just about had a takeaway. It was that Chukwuemeka that came through and got the deflection.
And the coaching point here is Elijah, don't wait for him. He's coming across, scanning the formation. That's the back in the backfield that's got to scan all the way across, and he has an awareness of who he's blocking, but you don't want to wait. Down in this red zone, everything happens faster, including your protection.
Another blitz. Trubisky off his back foot, a jump ball, and he might just be throwing that one away. And he was. Ryan Switzer, the intended receiver. So now it's 3rd down and goal just outside the 5. And again, the entire playbook is at Carolina's disposal as they still do have a timeout.
It sure is, but the 6'3" go-to receiver is not. And I know we've said that 10 times in this first half, but as much man-to-man as Georgia is playing defensively, you know that's where Trubisky would go. If Matt Collins, the leading receiver touchdown maker a year ago, was on the field, he's got to find another option. Man-to-man and pressure the first 2 snaps.
Bug Howard is 6'5" at the bottom of your screen. That's where they go. A fade to Bug Howard. Knocked away. Malcolm Parrish. Perfect coverage. And North Carolina will have to settle for 3 before halftime.
Coordinator will tell a wide receiver, it's my job to get you in a one-on-one. It's your job to win it. And that time, give a ton of credit to Malcolm Parrish. No surprise in this scheme, in this system, the background that Kirby's had at Alabama, that the secondary would be well coached. He doesn't panic, trusts himself, forces a field goal.
Kirby Smart calls a timeout. And we'll step aside for just a moment and come back and see if North Carolina can tack on 3. Welcome back to the Georgia Dome, where it's up to Nick Weiler to try and make this a 4-point game. 23 yards away. As Georgia's defense bent, but they didn't break. Getting a red zone defensive stop.
And Carolina will get the ball to begin the second half as well. Get your points if you're North Carolina.
And they'll get Mac Hollins back as well. Line drive. Not aesthetically pleasing, but got the job done.
I'm Matt Schick. You're watching ESPNU's coverage of college football. Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
North Carolina starts the 3rd quarter with the football, and they will start the 3rd quarter with arguably their most explosive perimeter player, Mac Hollins, back on the field, sitting out the first half after the carryover of the targeting penalty to finish the bowl game last year. TJ Logan swings wide, gets a block, cuts it back. TJ Logan, he's got a step. Touchdown.
Dominic Sanders, your best player defensively, jumps inside right there, loses his lane. And that's all it takes for someone as explosive as Logan. No chance for the kicker. Once Logan gained speed, and what a way to begin the second half. Score points going in, score points coming out. That's how you change momentum of football games.
A special teams touchdown puts North Carolina on top.
I'm Matt Schick. You're watching ESPNU's coverage of college football. Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
North Carolina has the lead. They have the football, and they have their full complement of weapons on the field. Mac Hollins playing for the first time at the top of your screen, the widest man to the far side left. Trubisky runs that way, just a straight quarterback keeper. And picks up close to 7 yards on first down. Lorenzo Carter made the stop.
And there's a look at Mac. 8 touchdown receptions a year ago. 3-time special teams captain, the Energizer Bunny of this offense. And a guy, if Georgia wants to play one-on-one, they better account for.
As you could see, a big play machine as he led FBS in yards per reception last year.
And that option play, a little check, something you did not see in the first half, an adjustment to Georgia's front.
Quick toss to Elijah Hood. First down. Dragged down by Bellamy, but not before he picked up plenty for the first down.
It's a pretty enormous drive here with 7.5 minutes to go. The SEC has struggled, to say the least, today. If Carolina drives at 70 more yards, 63 more yards for a touchdown, and they go up 24-14, do you know what that does to your conservative offensive game plan? Starts to really question it as time's running down.
Delayed handoff, turning the corner. Here's Elijah Hood, breaks a tackle. That's another North Carolina first down, and then some. 19 more for Elijah Hood.
And a little more controlled pace for North Carolina, and I like this. Make sure you get to the right play. You saw the speed option earlier. That's an adjustment. Make sure everyone's on the same page on the most critical drive yet of this football game.
Over the middle, making the catch is Ryan Switzer. Gets a block from Hollins, uses the stiff arm, and goes out of bounds at the Georgia 21-yard line. Another 23 yards for the North Carolina offense.
And that is danger zone. That is strong safety Dominic Sanders, the SEC's best last year. 6 interceptions, and he is squatting right on that route. But the arm strength of Trubisky, the velocity beats it.
Turning the corner is Logan. TJ Logan for the pylon. Touchdown. Did he step out? The official blocking our camera on the near sideline at the exact spot you might be able to tell. Here's a better look. Very close. Ruled a touchdown on the field. So you have to have indisputable video evidence to overturn the call on the field.
And you can't guess. Saw a bunch of plays in the Oklahoma-Houston game this morning with some green turf that made these calls very easy. There is not a lot of space between white shoe and white line out of bounds.
Might be just enough,
but I do,
to let the call stand.
I do not see anything there that turns it over. And once again, why that call on the field is ever so critical in these moments.
That sets the precedent, and it has to be indisputable to overturn that precedent that's set on the field. If the touchdown stands, that's a 5-play, 75-yard scoring drive that only took 1 minute and 43 seconds.
And for the first time, you feel Georgia on their heels defensively. Was so aggressive. Number 2, Maurice Smith, right? You're looking at him. A little hesitation there. Dominic Sanders comes down from a strong safety spot. Maurice, as I referenced earlier, has played 41 games of ball in this system at Alabama. But he hesitates. He's watching. Is Sanders going to make the play? Do I need to pull the trigger and make the play? In the first half, it was those ears back, and they were flying.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
And TJ Logan's having himself an evening. Why'd you break the school record in points, yards, nearly everything a year ago? Because you had weapons galore on the perimeter at running back, and you're starting to see it come to life.
Now, just before that touchdown drive for North Carolina, we saw Jacob Eason warming up again on the Georgia sideline. Now his presence might be necessary. His right arm might be what they need to get back in this football game, down by 2 scores. Looks like Eason's coming back in. We've got one at an end that can come right down to the end here in Atlanta as well. And if it does, what role will Jacob Eason play in that? The true freshman back in at quarterback with his team now down by 10. And he'll toss to another true freshman, Brian Herrien. A yard, maybe 2. Eason Collins, Malik Carney combined on the tackle for North Carolina.
It's now the 4th time you've run that toss crack play, and you can see Carolina getting a little better with each and every rep.
At what point, if you're Georgia, do you start to think differently about your game plan and how you attack this Carolina defense?
4th quarter, play this drive out. As you said, now there's a whole lot more pressure on Jacob Eason, down 10 in a run-first mindset.
They run it again with Nick Chubb. It'll be 3rd down. 3rd down and 5 coming for Georgia.
And you can just feel this building. You can feel the Carolina defense, the much maligned Carolina defense that was embarrassed their last 2 times out in the run game, playing a whole lot better today. Yards per carry, getting better as the game's going on instead of wearing down. And the swag that comes with 2 corners that can cover. When you got guys on the outside that can lock you down, man, it squeezes this entire field.
50% on 3rd down for the Dogs. They need one here. They send a blitz. Eason is able to beat it. Michael Chigbu secures a 1st down catch and a gain of 7.
And that's a creative little wrinkle as he gets hobbling, unfortunately. That's Jim Chaney realizing, okay, my guys on the outside aren't winning. Let me find another outlet. Let me create another matchup here for Jacob. And they get Chigbu on the nickel back, runs a little arrow route. And there you see some of the steam and the velocity with which he can throw a fastball.
Nick Chubb for 2 more yards. And Allison, this is a Carolina defense that's playing with some pride this afternoon.
Absolutely. After the way things ended in the final 2 games last year against Clemson and Baylor, this defense told me they were embarrassed, and they have been waiting all offseason to get that bad taste out of their mouths. Naz Jones said it was what drove us throughout training camp, and it is why we cannot wait to take the field against this Georgia team. And Nick Chubb, he said, what better test than to go out and prove ourselves against one of the best backs in the country.
Well, they've given up some yards, but only 14 points on the board for Georgia. Eason on 2nd down. A wobbler down the sideline. That's a jump ball, and it deflects out of bounds. Isaac Nauta. That's true freshman to true freshman as he tried to find the tight end. And that brings up 3rd down and 8.
And that's a true freshman trying to take a shot, and this is the danger. You've got a deep developing route. Look at downfield and look at your check down. Look at these guys once again covered, like I talked about on the outside. You have got to take the check down. There's 7, there's 8 yards, and who knows, a broken tackle. Those are the challenges with a true freshman when you call a shot play that's going to take his eyes down the field rather than a veteran that you would hope can get to the point of checking it down.
He's going to take another shot. Broken up. Flag out. Patrice Renee on Jason Stanley. And that's a true freshman in coverage for North Carolina. That will be called for pass interference.
And remember, there's no face guarding in college football.
Pass interference. Defense number 5. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic. 1st down.
There's no technical face guarding in college football. But if you do not allow that receiver to come back to the ball, you're going to get the penalty. And that's a freshman. You could see Patrice get his eyes back early. He was trying. If he turns his head one more time, right, and there's some of that same contact, more than likely doesn't draw the penalty. But by not allowing that receiver his chance, and good job of Jacob keeping that ball in play, and giving that referee the opportunity to make that call.
This is the first time I think they put Jacob Eason in an empty backfield. 5 wide. Straight throw out of the shotgun. He has time. He delivers a bullet that's dropped. Riley Ridley, another true freshman. Couldn't hold on to that one with Cole Holcomb in coverage. And some big-time games the first week of the college football season on ESPN. Monday night, we have number 11 Ole Miss, number 4 Florida State, led by Dalvin Cook. Our coverage begins at 8 Eastern from Orlando. Also streaming live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN.
If you're Florida State watching ball all weekend, you're saying SEC, LSU, Georgia going down, Tennessee nearly losing.
And off to Chubb on 2nd down. It'll be 3rd down and 7.
Here's a little chess match for Gene Chizik and John Papuchis up there as well. 2 guys that can draw up defense and coverage as well as anybody. And Jim Chaney, who's a good architect of creating matchups, As Chizik said, an NFL kind of mindset of getting personnel into the matchup he wants. You've had no luck on the veterans. Keep picking on the freshmen.
And this area of the field, are you thinking it might be 4-down territory?
You're getting awfully close if this is a positive yardage play.
Let's see what happens on 3rd and 7. Another blitz coming from North Carolina. Lobbing it down the sideline. Again, it's underthrown. Rene is there, and he's going to draw another flag. Patrice Rene, almost identical to the deep ball that Jacob Eason threw downfield when he was in coverage and did not allow the receiver to fight his way back to the football. Again is called for pass interference.
Pass interference. Defense number 5. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic. First down.
And that's Larry Fedora. And Rene this time, you can see he's fighting to get his head back. Watch. He's fighting to find the ball. But, ooh, I don't know about that. You've got to give these guys a little bit of liberty. They're not going to play it perfectly every single time. Did that contact inhibit the receiver from going and catching the ball? That one's 50-50. The first, 100%. That one's 50-50, but the true freshman's learning really quickly. With 2 other good corners, I'm the one that's going to get picked on.
Another empty backfield for Jacob Eason. Wide receiver hitch. Caught by Reggie Davis. Inside the 25, out of bounds at the 23-yard line for a gain of 5.
That empty formation simplifies the game. I think many people would think, oh, you get into empty in these exotic sets. It doesn't. Number 1, he ran this in high school, a spread system where he threw it all over the yard at Lake Stevens. Number 2, it takes guys out of the box. It takes a whole bunch of blitzes and corner blitzes and safety blitzes and zone blitzes out of the equation. The box count, the number count, gets a whole lot simpler and easier when you're in empty.
And now back to playing in a phone booth with Brian Herrien at tailback. 3rd down and 2 coming up after Herrien gets it to the 20-yard line. As we come up on 2:15 to go in the 3rd quarter.
2 pass interference penalties have certainly aided this drive, but what a response from the true freshman. This is why they're so excited. It's not about all the arm and what he's done in the past. It's about at every turn in the spring and this fall. He earned the right, as Kirby Smart said at halftime to us. He's earned the right to go out and play. This is exactly what you wanted out of a true freshman responding 10 points down.
3rd down and 2. Nick Chubb back in the game as the I-back. They toss it to their star. Blockers in front. He cuts it back, and he's got a first down. Just enough to get it across the first down line to gain. Now it's Georgia's turn in the red zone to try and make it a 1-score game.
I'll tell you the other thing that Jim Chaney is setting up, that is now, unfortunately, a Georgia Bulldog is down.
That's Isaiah Wynn, it looks like. Starting guard. Although this is an offensive line that was listed as either or at starter just about everywhere except center. And so rolling multiple different offensive linemen out there was the plan all along for Kirby Smart. And Isaiah Wynn to the bench.
You've run toss crack 6 times, so you're setting up 2 different plays. That's what the great offensive coordinators do. They're building blocks. That's why Kirby Smart hired Jim Chaney to come here and run his offense. If you've got, and you see Sam Pittman, the O-line coach as well, if you've got a toss crack pass and you're confident that Nick Chubb can throw it, these defenders are flying down. If you've got a toss reverse, if you've got a toss and then a play action naked pass off of it, you have now established a foundation, the way this defense is reacting, to build upon that play.
You have to get a certain defensive look to dial a play like that up.
You've gotten the same look every time, and that's a high level of commitment from the secondary defenders to come up and be force.
Again, that's 8 Carolina players up pretty close to the line of scrimmage. And there's a little jet sweep. Isaiah McKenzie gets to the edge. At the pylon, is he in? It looks like they'll mark him out at the half-yard line. He hit the pylon, but apparently stepped out just shy of the goal line. Let's take another look. Touchdown. They'll have to take a look at that. That looks like he hits the pylon before he lands out of bounds. That should be a Georgia touchdown. Well, there's boos from the Georgia crowd right now at the initial call because they saw the replay that we just put up on our air for you at home on the big screen here. And of course, they're all thinking, how do you call him out at the half-yard line? That should be a touchdown, but that might get corrected pretty quick by the replay booth.
And very easy in the speed that we're looking at it to see that that hand did not go down as quick as that is happening in front of that field judge. He got it wrong. And you know what? This is what instant replay is for. So they could correct it and get it right.
And the ball didn't travel a long way, but that's the first touchdown pass for Jacob Eason. That little forward toss goes down, at least in the statistics, as a forward pass. Where, in truth, that's just a jet sweep that they run and give it to a playmaker, and he went and made a play. And we've got a field goal lead again. 11 plays, 75 yards on the drive for Georgia. And the new head coach likes what he sees. We return with this week's college football rankings brought to you by Goodyear. And Brock, what could this weekend turn into for the SEC on opening weekend?
Well, just 3-3 right now. And Tennessee got outplayed. If Appalachian State could kick a field goal or manage a clock late, that could have been another devastating top 10 loss. And it just shows you the gap is narrowing. We know that in college football. They've won 8. The SEC has 8 of the last 10 titles. And they earned the benefit of the doubt of going in and being the favorites. But the ACC, the Big Ten, the Big 12, the Pac-12 are just not as far behind as they once were.
They're trying to keep it away from T.J. Logan. Here's Chris Francis up against the sideline. That is a terrific kickoff by Rodrigo Blankenship, as that will pin North Carolina deep after we check in with Adnan. And we've got a field goal game here as we approach the end of the third quarter, and the Georgia fans, I think, Brock, are now sensing how important this change of field position and this defensive stand could be, as it is the 12-yard line to start for Trubisky. He'll throw. Hit as he throws. Still unloads it into double coverage. Incomplete. He was trying for the big play to Mac Hollins. Lorenzo Carter put pressure on Trubisky.
Well, I told you about the other side and the true freshman with Eason and a shot play, and you know, I want to predetermine where I'm going. Oh, take a look at this. Take a look at Ryan Switzer. He wants to go to Hollins. He wants to get him involved. But that's a combo coverage. He splits, and he's wide open, and Switzer knows it.
Play action again. There's the slant. Austin Prohl, flag down. That's a first down if the play stands.
That could be men downfield. And the right tackle, John Heck, that's awfully close. You've got about 3 yards, and Larry Fedora is going to lose his mind if they call this.
Ineligible receiver downfield. Offense number 71. 5-yard penalty. 2 second down.
Did they just drop another flag on Larry Fedora?
Sure did.
For coming out on the field and arguing. It looks like one of the officials going to tack on a penalty on the Carolina head coach.
Dead ball. Unsportsmanlike conduct. Head coach of North Carolina. Penalized half the distance to the goal line. Repeat second down. This is the first unsportsmanlike conduct call against the head coach.
So here's your right tackle, John Heck. And he's got a 3-yard buffer. He cannot go past about that 15-yard line. And I'll tell you what, Larry Fedora has an argument. It's 3.5 yards. You get a little grace period. That was about 2.5, and that ball is out. On a call that's 50-50 if you make anyway, and you seldom, and most of the time, you see them not call it. He gets the call. I told you he's going to lose his mind. He lost his poise, and his team has lost every advantage of momentum and field position.
So after the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty on Larry Fedora for arguing a call that turns out to be probably a bad call, 2nd and 18 from the end zone. Trubisky in trouble, throws it, caught. That's going to be a safety. They set up the screen to Elijah Hood in the end zone. And it's a safety and 2 points for the Dogs. Makes it a 1-point game.
You got to have poise, Bob. As a quarterback, as a head coach, as a play caller, a screen pass in your own end zone, dangerous. You can throw it right at the feet, and he should have. Mitch Trubisky has got to throw that right at the feet of Elijah Hood, or Elijah has got to drop it. If it's coming to him, throw it down like a hot potato. You can't call it, and if you execute it like that, well, you're deserving of the safety against you. And Larry Fedora's got to gather himself, and you know what? He will. He's experienced enough. He can't, A, afford another unsportsmanlike, but B, he's got a staff that's been here and done it, and they've been together, and they've all got to just take a breath. You're ahead by a point in Atlanta against Georgia going into the 4th quarter. Got to show a whole lot more poise.
Well, how do you get your sideline to settle down? Because with all of this, it feels like North Carolina is now losing a game. Look at their fans. I mean, that's the look of a fan base that can't believe what's happened, and yet you look up at the scoreboard, and this is something that the coaches, I think, have to make sure that the players look up and see. Guys, we still have a 1-point lead in this game. Take a deep breath. You're basically starting fresh, but the scoreboard is still in North Carolina's favor. Let's head down to Allison.
Bob, that shift in momentum and energy was palpable before the safety. That's the loudest this Georgia fan base has been all night. You could see the players on the field waving their arms. They were going nuts on the sidelines. And then they scored the safety. You can really feel just the change in energy and momentum down here on the sidelines.
There has been a massive change in momentum, no doubt.
And watch this exchange. Larry Fedora to Trubisky. You're good. And I hope Mitch is saying back to him, you're good. We're good. I'm a redshirt junior. I've not been here and done this as a starter, but we're good. And just as Georgia responded, that's how you do it. You're down 10, go out and execute. And you've turned this game around in 7 minutes. We knew this was going to be an incredible game decided in the 4th quarter, and that's exactly what we're getting.
Here's Isaiah McKenzie on the return of the free kick. He can fly. Gets out to the 40-yard line. So great field position towards the end of the 3rd quarter now for the Dogs. They have a chance to take the lead back. And Jacob Eason is staying right where he was, at quarterback. Penalties have really hurt North Carolina. 2 big pass interference penalties that set up the touchdown drive. And then those couple of penalties that now results in a safety. A wildcat formation as Terry Godwin lines up to take the direct snap. First time we've seen this. They'll run a little read option, and Godwin jitterbugs to the sideline and gains 6.
You've also noticed something here with a veteran play caller and offensive coordinator, and I know I've referenced Jim Chaney at least a dozen times, but you feel his poise. 28-7 run to pass in that first half. This is Alabama Kirby Smart football. This is why that pairing to me was so good and a tremendous hire. We're not going to get flustered. You don't win a game in the 1st or the 2nd or the 3rd quarter. You win it by wearing out your opponent and getting to some of your unique plays and adjustments when it matters the most in the 4th.
Back to Nick Chubb. 3rd down and a yard and a half coming up to start the 4th quarter. What a game here at the Georgia Dome. We head to the fourth quarter. Only 1 point separating North Carolina and Georgia. The Bulldogs and Kirby Smart in his debut trying to retake the lead. It is serene outside. It is anything but that inside the Georgia Dome. The Chick-Fil-A kickoff game between Georgia and North Carolina. We head to the fourth quarter. Bob Wischusen, Brock Ewart, Allison Williams down on the field. And a huge play to begin the fourth quarter. 3rd down and 1.5 yards just shy of midfield for the Dogs, as they have taken a 10-point deficit what feels like moments ago and cut it down to 1. The toss to Nick Chubb. He is met. Gang tackled. North Carolina gets the stop. Malik Carney came through first.
What a really nice job by Aaron Crawford inside. These defensive tackles for North Carolina have played so square to the line of scrimmage, allowing their buddies at end and a linebacker to go ahead and finish.
They just ran Grayson Lambert out to go for it maybe on 4th and 2. Is this just a hard count? Will they snap the ball on their side of the 50 on 4th down?
No.
Timeout called from the sideline by Kirby Smart. A chess game. We'll step aside for just a moment. What a game in Atlanta. Tonight after Clemson Auburn at SportsCenter at night with Scott Van Pelt. All the highlights of the college football weekend. The U.S. Open, Major League Baseball, 2nd round of the Deutsche Bank Championship. NFL roster cuts, very interesting as well. SportsCenter with SVP tonight after college football on ESPN, also streaming live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN. So after the timeout, and maybe the timeout could be second guessed, here is the punt, and it's a wobbly one. Ryan Switzer waves his teammates away, and this takes a big-time North Carolina hop as Marshall Long, the true freshman, had that one come off the side of his foot. It's only a 23-yard punt, and in that sequence, Kirby Smart spends a timeout rather than taking a delay of game penalty. Is that one of those moments for a first-time head coach?
Yes.
Game management-wise, where you second guess?
Yeah, I think where you're sitting there around midfield, if you're going to run that play, which I like, that's a great. And they nearly got Carolina to jump. Just take the delay of game. And after a brutal punt, Trubinsky in a much better spot, and you see just 89 yards. If you would have told me Carolina had a lead in the 4th and he had only 89 yards passing, I would have never believed you.
They'll hand it right up the middle out of the spread set to Hood. And there is a fight to get Hood on the ground. It's never an easy job as Rochester and Patrick on the tackle for Georgia. So that's a hard fought, about 5 yards for Elijah Hood. Cost him his shoe as well. TJ Logan in the backfield. He has a rushing touchdown and a kick return touchdown in the game. He gets it again. 3rd down and 2 after a gain of 3. Roquan Smith tripped him up.
And what an enormous 3rd down for real estate in field position. You move the sticks here, you put yourself in the shot zone. You see Carolina going up tempo. Huge for your tempo, even more for your field position right here.
Trubisky on a rollout. Wide open, perfectly designed play to Ryan Switzer. And that's an easy, almost a running play to pick up the 1st down.
Well, if I'm going to give Jim Chaney a ton of credit, I've got to give offensive coordinator Chris Kapilovic some question there. That's a perfect call. You throw right in the blitz. That old adage, how do you beat the blitz? Throw into the blitz. And that time, even move in the pocket and as safe and secure a throw to the flat as you can have.
This play blown dead at the line, and it'll cost Carolina 5.
False start. Offense, number 71. 5-yard penalty remains. First down.
And if you're going to come into this building, which is 80% Georgia fans, would you say?
At least. It's probably about right.
And you've seen some of the momentum turn. The easiest way to correct it is to go out and execute. The self-inflicted pre-snap penalties have to be eliminated.
Draw play. Elijah Hood got back the penalty yardage and then some. Gained about 10.
One other little adjustment you're seeing is Mitch Trubisky holding that fake a little bit longer. As fast as Florida or as Georgia was flying around defensively, hold that fake.
Holds it again. Play action. Trubisky up the seam. Tipped and almost intercepted. Maurice Smith walled off Ryan Switzer. Another big third down coming up for the Tar Heels.
That's tremendous play. The touchdown earlier to Logan, he lost contain. He lost his eyes a little bit, but this is what you get in a graduate transfer. Again, no panic. Plays the ball perfectly. Huge third down.
Four-man rush. Trubisky well protected as a result. Goes to his check down. That's not going to get the job done. So now it will be North Carolina that will have to punt. Elijah Hood was surrounded by red jerseys as soon as he caught the football.
Yeah, and Carolina was expecting man. They run underneath crossing routes. Right? The wonderful chess match that is play calling. You're expecting some pressure from Kirby on the biggest third down yet in the game. You're going to run kind of rub routes, shallow crosses, and instead you get zone coverage, nowhere for Trubisky to go but to check it down.
And we talked about special teams. We just saw an inexperienced punter with a 23-yard punt one direction. Well, here is the true freshman again for North Carolina, Tom Sheldon, to punt. And we have a flag down as it looks like the play clock wound all the way down before North Carolina could get set up to punt. So they'll take a 5-yard penalty.
Offense, 5-yard penalty remains, fourth down.
This better be directional or have an awful lot of hang time. And you got to be real careful about telling a freshman anything. You want them to go out there and react and do their job, but when you've got that guy, one of the most dangerous, he and his buddy Switzer, two of the most dangerous in all of college football, at returning punts, you better get hang time or be directional.
And he tried to directional it to the sideline, seemed to hook it right back down the middle, where it's scooped up, dangerously so, by Isaiah McKenzie with Mac Hollins all over him. Georgia with the football back, still down a point.
The 2016 Chick-Fil-A Kickoff game is presented by Hampton by Hilton. Book at Hampton.com for a guaranteed discount. And shop Field & Stream, where traditions begin.
We always wondered if Kirby Smart would change his demeanor on the sideline at all, going from coordinator to head coach. Would he tone it down a bit? You have to be you. And he has been every bit as animated as you would have thought that he would be in his head coaching debut. His team has responded. They're down by 1. They were down by 10 not that long ago, and they've got the football back early here in the fourth quarter. Little toss to Nick Chubb. Gain of 1.5 yards. Malik Carney made the stop. Back to Adnan. So UMass toe-to-toe with the Gators as the drama and intrigue of this opening weekend for the SEC continues to build. Second down and 8. Jacob Eason under center. Might be changing the play. Play clock at 5. Nick Chubb. If he changed it, it was the right call, as Nick Chubb picked up the first down.
Well, what he's doing there is not changing the play, but that's what you call a check with me. And you've got to run it to a technique. So you're going to run it to the 3 technique, not to get too technical, or the 1 technique. You keep that simple. That's simple enough for a freshman to go out and execute and do. And he does just that. I got to tell you, you're seeing a tremendous poise. He did not look like a true freshman, and it helps when you enroll in January, when you have an entire semester in school, when you have a spring ball and a spring game, entire summer in school. It should pay dividends, and you should hit the ground running.
And now he's got to get his team up to the line as they break the huddle with 10 on the play clock. He looked up and saw it. Down to 3, gets the play off with no problem. Play action fake. Long ball to the sideline, and that one sailed a bit, and we've got a flag down in the offensive backfield as well. That's going to be a hold against Georgia.
That's going to be the right tackle this time. We saw Catalina with a penalty earlier. That's going to be Greg Pike.
Hold it. Offense, number 73. 10-yard penalty. Repeat. First down.
And Gene Chizik told you he would win this game. Not about the quarterbacks or the running backs, about his defensive line and whether or not they could be productive. And that's Mikey Bart, their leading sacker from a year ago, getting on the edge of Greg Pike and on the deep comeback route. That's enough. Pike knows that he's got to protect his quarterback to allow that longer developing route. All he can do is reach and grab and hold and back up the Bulldogs inside their 20.
Well, for a team that's run it 46 times and only thrown it 16 times, 1st and 20 gets you off schedule. A little flip pass into the right flat to Brendan Douglas. Boy, does he get hammered. Picked up about 9 yards. Andre Smith lowered the boom on Brendan Douglas. They'll give him 8, mark him down at the 25. Empty backfield on 2nd down and 12. Carolina shows blitz. They bring 5. Throwing right behind the blitz was Jacob Eason to Isaiah McKenzie. Donnie Miles with a sure tackle and another big 3rd down coming here. 3rd down, and it looks like about 5.
And that empty is what Jacob's going to be comfortable in. He throws right into that blitz. Doesn't panic after 1st and 20. A little check swing, a little slant route, and a very manageable 3rd and 6.
Another empty backfield on 3rd down for the #1 quarterback recruit in America. Another blitz coming from North Carolina. He looks for the home run to McKenzie. He's got it down the sideline. Huge play for the Dogs. 1st down in the red zone.
Where can I create matchup advantages? The guy they called the human joystick on the linebacker, game over. And Eason knew he had it the whole way. Looked down the middle like a savvy old vet, didn't stare it down, and you can't throw it any better than that.
And you love the leadership and experience of Grayson Lambert. Grayson Lambert isn't making that throw. That is Jacob Eason's arm talent making a huge play. Nick Chubb back in as the I-back. Flag down at the snap. Is this a formation penalty at the snap against Georgia?
Illegal formation. More than 4 men line up in the backfield. 5-yard penalty. Repeat. 1st down. Timeout for an injured defensive player.
Actually an injured offensive player. And that's another offensive lineman. This time it's Isaiah Wynn that is shaken up.
Bob, we talked about the eyes of Grayson Lambert earlier, looking at some of that rush. And do you have a full field awareness of what's going on? Jacob Eason is sitting in empty. And this is what he's most comfortable doing. And he knows right now, I've got my most explosive player on a linebacker, and I've got to keep this safety or get him to the middle of the field. And watch Jacob's eyes. He does just that. He gets the safety to the middle of the field enough that he can lay out a ball just like he did at Lake Stevens when he threw for 10 million yards and became Gatorade National Player of the Year.
And 99 touchdowns in high school is pretty good.
The only way that happens is that he has the poise to know where he's going to go with the ball and to look that safety to the middle of the field enough. And he's even looking to the left here early, and he's right down the middle of that safety. I'm not looking at the route, because the minute I look at my McKenzie on outside linebacker Holcomb, that safety is going to come over. That's why he's earned the right. When Kirby says he's earned the right, plays like that. And Grayson Lambert knows it. They're friendly. They're buddies. Grayson knows that this kid is the future of the program. Just don't know when they knew it would show up, and it's showing up at just the right time.
That's the biggest play from either offense in the game after the penalty. Eason play action, and he's sacked. Oh, that time he had no chance to look downfield. Mikey Bart comes around right in and knocks Eason down all the way back at about the 28-yard line.
Yeah, and that's the first call I really question here. That's Mikey Bart right at the top against Tyler Catalina, the transfer from Rhode Island, and he gets beat right off the snap. A longer developing play and going backwards with a true freshman kicker that's already pulled one. Not advantageous.
So after the 51-yard bomb that is completed by Jacob Eason, 2nd and 22 after the penalty and the sack. Up the middle. There's the true freshman again. An impact play by Brian Herrien all the way down to the 12-yard line. Brings up a huge 3rd down in the red zone for Georgia. Remember, they have a freshman kicker, or rather a redshirt sophomore kicker, that has never made a field goal in competition. He's already missed today. That's William Ham. So if you don't pick up the 1st down here, you're bringing William Ham back in the game to try and give your team the lead in the 4th quarter.
It's a problem area a year ago. Just 42% scoring touchdowns in the red zone. Just 12 touchdowns on the season for Grayson Lambert in 12 starts.
Pistol formation. True freshman at quarterback, true freshman at tailback. Play action. Throws it to the back pylon. That carries out of bounds. Terry Godwin, the intended receiver. Well, now Kirby Smart has no choice but to send a field goal unit out there. Again, William Ham, the redshirt sophomore, trying to replace Marshall Morgan. Missed this field goal from 42 earlier.
That was here as a freshman, walked away as a redshirt, walked away. And they convinced him to come back, to fight for the spot. He's earned the right here. A big 0 for 1 and a hook earlier. In his mind, he's at least on the right hash mark if he wants to play that draw.
And this one from only 29 to give Georgia the lead with 5.5 minutes to go. Line drive, but he's got it. Good for William Ham. Now North Carolina gets the football back when we return, down by 2.
I'm Matt Schick. You're watching ESPNU's coverage of college football. Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
They roll the pocket. Simple pitch and catch for the 1st down with a flag thrown in the secondary. And Ryan Switzer just couldn't put the brakes on fast enough to roll upfield, or else he might have picked up 10 more. But it looks like this call's going to go against North Carolina. And Chukwuemeka injured as well. Another Georgia injury.
Pass interference. Offense, number 13. Penalized half the distance to the goal line from the previous spot. Repeat 3rd down.
Obviously, Larry Fedora doesn't agree. Brock, what do you think?
Yeah, this is a challenge, and I think that they got this one right. This is unfortunate. Receiver's job. You want to rub the defender off, but you can't run into him. It's your job. If he simply avoids, or you swim, or you make any effort to get out of the way of the DB, you're not going to get that call. But unfortunately, Matt Collins at 6'4", I don't think he was intentionally trying to run in, but he certainly did not intentionally try to avoid. And when that's the case, you're going to get flagged.
If you just run, though, as Matt Collins seemed to, on a straight line there,
and you run right into the defender,
I'm sure that's exactly the case that Larry Fedora is trying to make.
It sure is.
He didn't seek a player out to try and go block him.
Nope, but
he just ran in a straight line.
He's also got to feel the amount of space that he had and try to avoid.
So after the penalty, instead of a first down for North Carolina, it's 3rd and 9. Trubisky, long throw to the sideline, coming back to make the catch. Is he in bounds? Mac Hollins, yes he is. Where do they spot the football? He might be a foot short. Jawan Briscoe stayed with Hollins, but it looks like he is a half-yard shy of the first down.
He is in bounds. The ball can touch the ground if he still controls it through the impact to the ground.
And boy, he caught that football right at the first.
Bob, he ran at least 10 yards back. That's a deep developing comeback. He's coming back, which is what you are taught to do as a senior wide receiver. Textbook. As that throw travels 35, 40 yards all the way across the field.
Well, they're going to measure as they have given him the catch. And to the naked eye, it looks like he's just short. Let's see. He might have gotten it. It is a first down for North Carolina. What a 3rd down conversion. Terrific throw from Trubisky. And Mac Hollins makes the impact play he wasn't around to make in the first half. And now they're going to review to make sure that the catch was clean.
He's the guy. Mac Hollins is the guy. When you get in these moments with 4 minutes to go, big time environment, big time game, your big time players need to show up.
And you have to complete the process of this catch, survive the contact as you go out of bounds, and control the football. And the ball can touch the turf,
but does he
and it can still be deemed to have been in the receiver's control by the official.
Ooh.
That little wobble there, would you say that meets the definition of losing control of the ball?
It sure feels like just about every call, pass interference, legal men downfield, just about everything has running into the defender there in the little pick play, rub play. About every call has gone against North Carolina. Now that does not dictate this replay booth. They didn't make any of those calls on the field. They have got to make the judgment of that little wobble of the ball when it hit the ground, complete or incomplete. And Bob, you and I spent a day with the replay officials, and they tell you this is the most difficult call, not targeting. There is no call tougher than to deem catch or no catch, especially in a situation like this with contact to the ground. Call on the field, reception. That wobble enough to overturn it on a day where North Carolina, I know, feels like every call has gone against them, will be a pivotal one because of incomplete. They're punting from their end zone.
All right, what's your instinct tell you? You think they stick with the call on the field and they rule this a completion?
And let me see it in real speed, because it's also been a point of emphasis. Let me see it in real speed. Does that ball wobble? Nearly impossible to call. Absolutely impossible to call. You slow it down frame by frame by frame. Another point of conversation. They're trying to watch these things full speed as much as they can. Call stands would be my gut. But as you ought to know,
after further review, in the process of making the catch and going to the ground, ball hit the ground. Therefore, it's an incomplete pass. It'll be 4th down at the 8-yard line.
Call reversed.
So the ball hitting the ground. The ball can hit the ground. The ball can, as I understand, the ball can touch the ground. You have to have control. So I believe what the referee is saying there with the replay is the ball hit the ground when it wobbled. That he lost enough little control that it hit the ground when it wobbled, and that's the incompletion.
And that, again, is an example of football fans watching our game right now at home saying, what is a catch? Well, they've tried to write the rule to make it as black and white as they can, and they've almost legislated it to a point that what really looks like a catch your whole life, watching football, turns out not to be a catch. Pretty good punt, heading the wrong direction is Isaiah McKenzie. Now he gets a block, and now he gets planted. Eagles made the special team stop. 42-yard punt, and McKenzie lost 4 on the return. 3:45 to go, and it looks like Grayson Lambert is coming back in the game to run the 4-minute offense for Georgia. Much the same way that Kirby Smart flip-flopped quarterbacks in the first half, he is doing so again in the second half. Situational football here with 3:45 to go, and at halftime he explained to Allison Williams why he made the move in the first half and maybe why he's doing it again.
Well, to be honest with you, we felt like Jacob had earned the right to play. And we wanted Jacob to come in, do the things he does well. And then with Grayson going back, that was more of a 2-minute situation. We felt like he could run that operation a little bit better in the 4-minute offense right before half.
So here it is, Brock Ewert, the 4-minute offense. Back to Grayson Lambert.
Stick to what you work on, but you better secure the snap. And this better work.
A toss to Nick Chubb. Blockers out in front. He's got a crease. Nick Chubb, eyes on the end zone. Touchdown. Ruled to have stayed in bounds. Again, you would have to think the replay would take a look to see if Nick Chubb stepped out at about the 1.5-yard line. But it was ruled a touchdown on the field.
And somewhere Herschel Walker saying, yeah, I like this ball. I like I-right 48 toss crack for the 8th time today. And is there any separation, or can you deem that foot to be clearly on the white?
There's a fill that obviously they put on field turf fields that supports the field, and you can see sometimes when these players take a step, that fill kind of pops out of the turf and almost masked the sideline there. So this is a very quick review. Is it a touchdown for Nick Chubb?
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
It is a touchdown. His second of the day.
And that's been consistent. That call has been consistent all day when it comes to the boundary and the sidelines on both sides.
This is the second highest rushing total for Nick Chubb, and it comes in his return from his knee basically exploding last year. That awful hit that he took on the first play of the Tennessee game. What a return. 222 yards, 2 touchdowns. Now, if there is an offense for one of these two teams that is built for this situation, it's North Carolina. 3.5 minutes and all 3 timeouts, and T.J. Logan bringing it back. Let's go down to Allison.
As Nick Chubb bearing the fruits of the work that he put in to get back on the field, and he does not forget that it wasn't that long ago that he was laying on that field at Tennessee, and he posted this Instagram picture saying strength does not come from physical capacity, it comes from indomitable will, and that is what we are seeing tonight from Nick Chubb. You know, nobody works harder than him.
And I also know he's an incredibly humble guy, and he's going to give an immense amount of credit to Christian Payne, his fullback Greg Pike, his right tackle. They've run the same play over and over and over. They didn't need a trick pass off of it. They needed a commitment to it, a conviction to it. And it's the biggest play yet of this game.
3.5 minutes to go, though. North Carolina has all 3 timeouts, but they need 2 scores. Trubisky underneath. Diving catch is made by Hollins. That'll roll the clock. Gain of 6.
And you got to go. You got all 3 timeouts, and anything really short of the sticks, as quick as you play tempo-wise, this has got to be as fast as you can go.
Valuable seconds ticking off as Trubisky gets his team set. Long throw to the sideline, wide open was Austin Kroll, but that ball sailed on Trubisky. That brings up 3rd down. It's all 4 down territory now for North Carolina, needing 2 scores. Only a 3-man rush. Right at the first down marker, it's Bug Howard. And that will be good enough to move the chains for the Heels.
3 senior wide receivers. Howard's a senior, Switzer's a senior, Mac Hollins is a senior, Trubisky's a redshirt junior. They should have a tremendous plan for this moment. And it starts with not wasting a second.
Check down, wide open. Ryan Switzer steps out of bounds. That's a gain of 9, and it stops the clock with 2:34 to go. Now the clock starts again as they set the ball ready for play. Trubisky gets his team ready to go. Low throw, but it's good for a first down to Elijah Hood. So that will stop the clock again for a moment with 2:17 remaining.
But again, once they reset, watch from 17 just how quickly they can get to their next play. Well done.
5-man rush. Trubisky. Again, it's Switzer. Right at the first down marker. That looks to be good for another North Carolina first down, a gain of 10.
And all the while conserving these. Have done so the entire second half. All 3 timeouts.
And you don't have to have the touchdown on this drive. You just need points to make it a 1-score game. Trubisky, as he's falling to the turf with a flag down, forces one and finds Switzer.
Holding. Offense number 52. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, first down.
13 penalties for 101 yards for North Carolina as we quickly go back to Adnan. All right, Adnan, Trubisky with a strike, gets the penalty yardage back, and now a timeout called.
I think that's wise. It's going to be 10, 15 seconds that you can't afford, as everybody's got to get now back lined up and ready to go.
Well, oftentimes, and I'm not sure why, Brock, you see coaches and teams kind of obsess on getting the touchdown in this situation. All you have to do is get into field goal range.
But then you got to trust, Bob, that your defense can stop them. And do you trust your group defensively to stop Nick Chubb in this Georgia offense that's taken a 24-14 game and turned it into 33-24?
Well, I'm not even thinking about putting it back on your defense. I mean, I would think if North Carolina scores any points here, they're lining up for an onside kick.
Yeah, very true. You're just playing those odds. You also got to trust you're a big play offense. You've always been a big play offense, and we've not really seen that today. And I give an immense amount of credit to Kirby Smart, Mel Tucker, that defensive crew that has limited the big play. That, to me, one of the biggest differences of this game. We've hardly talked about it, but the inability for North Carolina to push the ball down the field.
Your play calling here. Are you thinking big play down the field? Are you thinking trying to get the touchdown? Or is it the mentality of just get points and extend the game?
I'm thinking chunk plays past the sticks at this point.
4-man rush. Trubisky steps up. Check down to Hood. Has a blocker and has a first down. Down to 1:37 to go.
These kids are playing their guts out on both sides. What a tremendous amount of energy from both teams tonight.
Trubisky down the sideline into double coverage. Bug Howard out of bounds. That's the first time on this drive that North Carolina has forced the issue a bit. Again, we've got some big-time games this weekend, the opening weekend of college football, and it culminates Monday night. Ole Miss, Florida State in Orlando. Streaming live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN. Screen. Logan. Nothing. And it rolls the clock. A worst case scenario for North Carolina. They're going to have to spend another timeout.
That's a danger with a check down. That's a danger with the screen. You just don't feel good, unfortunately. And I've really highlighted Carolina's secondary and their people on the outside, their corners, really shutting down the big plays down the field. Georgia's done it a little differently. They've done it with a lot of personnel, rotating a lot of people through with Larry Fedora in this high-octane offense, record-setting offense from a season ago.
Nick Weiler's career-long field goal is 48. From right here, you're looking at about 51, maybe 52 yards. Are you calling a play on third down to get past the sticks to try and get a first down? Or are you just trying to get him 6 or 7, 8 yards so you can kick the field goal, make it a one-score game, and now you have a chance to line up for an onside kick?
I love that conversation. I'm calling my best play, and my best play is going to be to Hollins and to Switzer, and more than likely past these sticks. You know, I'm not building something to throw a quick little slant 4 yards and then go up, right, and call a timeout to kick a field goal in that whole operation. I'm not doing it. I'm trying to get a first down right here.
But it can't take you more than another 30, maybe 40 seconds to get in the end zone, or else you'll still not have enough time on the back end, even if you recover an onside kick, to get in the field goal range. So much goes into these play calls. Trubisky, that comes out sideways. And they'll rule that an incomplete pass. Lorenzo Carter deflected it. Well, now do you send Weiler out to try a career-long field goal to make it a one-score game, or do you go for it on fourth down?
Our impact player came to life, Bob. One of the first times we have seen Lorenzo Carter, and that time beating Elijah Hood. And watching Weiler in warm-ups, this is outside his range. Career-long 48.
Compelled to go for it on fourth down. This might be a free play. Georgia might have been offsides. Now with Georgia offsides, this moves you now to a point where you might be able to try the field goal.
Offside. Defense number 78. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, fourth down.
And I play the odds here. If you feel good, this comes down to how good you feel about your kicker in a career long of 48, 20-23 last year. Otherwise, the game comes down to this. You get your 3 right now, you at least have an onside kick and an opportunity.
Yeah, with 1:11 to go, it might take them too long to get into the end zone. So they're going to go for it on fourth down, even though this is now inside of what would be Nick Weiler's career range. Trubisky, long throw to the sideline, out of bounds. And that will end it. Kirby Smart, barring a miracle, is going to come away a winner in his debut on the sidelines as the head coach of the Georgia Bulldogs. And you have to wonder, now it's 2020 hindsight, do you kick the field goal there if you're North Carolina to try and keep the game alive, at least attempt a field goal?
We're on the same page. I think you and I take that field goal, make it a one-score game, and come down to an onside kick and have enough time to do what you want. But ultimately, Kirby's guys covered better. Part of the reason he brought him here, all-conference safety way back when. He knew he had some good personnel on the back end of this defense. Sure helps when he got Maurice Smith to transfer over. But there was nowhere for Trubisky to throw, and unfortunately on 4th and 5, you just got to throw it up somewhere in bounds and give one of your guys an opportunity to make a play.
And it's Grayson Lambert out there for victory formation. The final timeout called by North Carolina, hoping for a miracle mistake by Georgia. But this is the kind of football game I think we expected from both of these teams. And this has a chance for Georgia, if they put together some type of a special season, to be a win they look back on that is a real impressive resume builder. If it comes to that at some point, and it could, you never know.
And unfortunately, a pretty devastating loss on the other side for a Carolina team that's going to have a hard time building a resume with not many teams ranked as it sits right now, and a challenge to get many more in that ACC ranked as the season moves along.
there's only one other ranked team, as you said, on their schedule the rest of the way as things stand right now. Now they are in, and both of these teams are in what would be considered the weaker division of their two respective leagues. So they could both find themselves in a conference championship game.
Yep.
And would it come down at the end of the season to this win over North Carolina for Kirby Smart's team for something really special to happen? You never know.
A tremendous fourth quarter game. Down 24-14, didn't flinch. Played a true freshman in that moment. Did not waver from the game plan. Nick Chubb was going to finish this thing in the fourth quarter. That was the plan all the way. I love I-Right. 48 toss crack 8 times and 2 touchdown runs. I know Herschel does, as I said earlier, somewhere as well. That's the kind of Bulldog brand and identity he wants to build, and a tremendous start for Kirby in his career.